Hi, guess. Good morning. I hope you're able to hear me. Can anyone please confirm?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the last session, we have gone through the content of the course, what we're going to cover. And later that, we just started talking about the cloud computing, the differences between on-prem and cloud, and we discussed about it. And we just go through the last session so that you can understand. So yesterday, what we discussed in terms of the cloud computing is, if you wanted to start a restaurant with your own premises, then definitely you have to spend a lot of amount. So instead of having your own premises, if you can take it as a renting, then the investment will be less. And if the business is succeeded, then you can expand the business in the same way. And even if the business is loss, closing this business with very minimal loss. But when you have you're with completely with your own premises, then it is going to be very bigger loss. So in the same way, as I said, if you wanted to stay for some work in any of the city when you're traveling, we don't need to have our own house. We can stay in a hotel. Once our work is completed, we can vacate and we can pay the rent only. So that is what the cloud services. So on-prem means whatever is there in your premises, that we can call it as a on-prem. Whatever is there in your premises, that we can call it as a on-prem. And whatever is there with someone else premises, so that comes under the cloud. So we are going to use completely cloud technologies. I mean, for Azure Data Engineer, not only that, for many of the technologies now people are looking towards to the cloud is because we can reduce the run and maintenance. Okay, so there are many things are there, but we are not here to talk about that terms. We are here to talk about data processing. If you are going to work as a Azure data engineer, what is your responsibilities? What you are going to do? So with respect to data engineering, Microsoft Azure is the topmost service. So because of that reason, wherever you go, you used to hear the term Azure data engineer. They concentrated more on that area. And today I'm going to talk about the cloud deployment models. So what are the different types of cloud deployment models are there? This is also is a generic concept before going to the Azure data engineering. Cloud deployment models. Basically, there are three different types of cloud deployment models. There are three different types of cloud deployment models. One is public cloud, another is private cloud, and third is hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is not existed in general, but when you combine the first and second, that will be treated as hybrid cloud. Let's say, for example, I have a requirement. I wanted to provide a solution for my big data. Okay. Having a requirement to provide a solution for big data. You can take anything, big data or application, anything. If I have something like that, I wanted to take the services. I wanted to take the services. If I am going to take the services from the cloud, if I'm going to take the services from the cloud, here, from here, I wanted to take ADLS Gen 2. I wanted to provide I wanted to take the ADLS Gen 2 and I wanted to take a database. So database is also required. And I wanted to take Azure Data Factory, ADF, and we required one more. I'm just taking ADB, Azure Databricks. So if you are going to take a services from any cloud as a user, I'm the user or I'm the business a person. If I'm going to take the services from this particular place as an individual or as a company, I wanted to take the services from here. So if you take the services, let me take in this direction. So customers can take the services from here. So this customer is going to be something like this. This customer can be individual. As an individual, we can take the services, or as a company, we can take the services. As an individual, we can take the services from here. As a company, I can take the services. So this is a cloud only. I'm just talking about cloud, but this cloud is going to be public cloud. So public cloud means the public cloud is going to provide the services for everyone. If any cloud vendor, provides the services to everyone, that means to individuals or to the company. So that kind of cloud is known as public cloud. So the services are going to be available for everyone. If any of the service which are providing by the cloud vendors, if they provide the services to every individual, that cloud we can call it as a public cloud. So if it is not a public cloud, then you cannot take it, you cannot take the services. That's not possible to take the services. So when it is going to possible to take the services only if that is a public cloud. So example for this is we have a Microsoft Azure, AWS, and GCP. All these people are the public clouds. They can say they sell their products to everyone. No specific control or no specific reasons to sell that particular person. So they're going to make available for everyone. So because of that reason, I can buy the service from the Microsoft Azure. You can take the service from there, and a company also can take the service from there as it is a public cloud. So we can use the provisions as per their provisions, and we can make it available the service within just minutes. If I wanted to create a database in the public cloud, With just in a minutes, I can make it available. If I wanted to do the same thing in the on-prem, it's going to take a month's to time. Definitely takes months. And if you want to increase the compute also, it's not that easy if you go for on-prem. But if it is a cloud with just clicks, even if it is created with the less configuration, whenever you required high configuration, you can increase. Whenever you wanted to downgrade the configuration, you can downgrade it. So when I'm going to talk about the SQL Server, I'll give an idea where exactly I have reduced the cost and what approach we have used in order to reduce the cost. So sometimes they may ask in the interview, what benefits you have given to the customers. So at least 1 or 2 points, if you can explain, that will be a better. So those things, whatever I faced, how we have reduced the cost, I'll give you an idea how we can do it. So there are many things are there in order to reduce the cost. So public cloud means the services are going to be available for everyone. Now, customer is not interested to go for the public cloud. So mostly this is for only for practicing purpose. You can just think about it. But as an organization, people used to take the services from there for their projects or for their business. So just imagine I have a requirement, but that person, the business user or the customer is not interested to go with the customer is not interested to go with the public cloud. Just imagine. He wants to take the services. He wants to take the services, but he's not interested to go with either Microsoft Azure or he's not interested to go with GCP or AWS. He's not interested. So if that is the case, then how the people are going to provide the solution? So just take an example for the big data only. So when I say private cloud, this private cloud is going to be available for specific organization. If the cloud vendors provides services to specific organizations is known as private cloud. So they don't provide the services for every individual. They don't provide. They are going to provide only to the organizations. So that means the private cloud services are going to be available for only organization. Only for organizations they are going to be available. So that kind of services we can call them as private cloud. So to provide the solution for this, they need a database. Definitely they're going to take the database. That may be Oracle database, that may be Teradata, that may be anything. Okay, so before public cloud, there was a private cloud. Before public cloud, there was a private cloud only. But these people are not going to sell the services to everyone. They're going to sell the services the persons who is going to take the services from them. Example for the private cloud is like, let's say you are the customer of the business. I wanted to take the service. I wanted to get the solution for my big data. All these business users are not aware of how to provide the solution for the big data. They have a knowledge on how to run the business, but they're not going to have a knowledge on how to set up the environment, how to process the data. All those things are going to be taken care by technical teams.
In this, all this we can consider.
Sorry.
So in this case, I mean, the private cloud is nothing but on-premises.
Of course,
Okay.
looks like that only. Okay, so this private cloud people, what they used to do is they're going to have a data centers. They're going to have their data centers in their premises. Instead of having a data center in your premises, two things. I'll give you some example like that. You are a customer and you're reaching to the TCS to provide a solution for the big data. So what the solution architect team is going to say is they will take the requirement from you and depends on the budget, they're going to provide the solution to you as a solution architects. So let's say, for example, you're having a less budget or you're capable enough to have the budget. If the person is coming and asking, I wanted to have my own premises within my premises. I wanted to all the infrastructure in my premises, then they will set up everything in their premises. But the cost is more. So like this kind of customers in the market right now is very less. Okay, so and other type of customers is the same customer. Let's take an example. He is not having that much budget. At the same time, he is not interested to go with the public cloud. So based on this customer requirement, they will suggest we will give the cloud. I mean, we will give the environment to you. You don't need to pay much more. You don't need to have a infrastructure because if the infrastructure, everything is set up here, he has to take care everything, right from the setup, maintenance, security, upgradation, everything. But in this case, this TCS will take care all of those things. And depends on the business requirement, they will configure the services and they will give the virtual machines to them to connect and to work or to access. So that means the TCS or any company, just an example, this is service-based company, I'm taking an example. So these people are going to provide the service as well as they're going to provide the infrastructure also. But the TCS provides infrastructure to this customer only, not an individual, only to the company. And if they need a database like this, a Teradata, something like that, they have to pay software license. Software license is going to pay to the Teradata. But this infrastructure is there, right? That infrastructure they have to pay to the people who are providing a infrastructure to you. This infrastructure is not yours. You're just taking like a what we used to call in general term a lease. You're taking a lease, something like that. So you're paying for the entire month. Yeah, sorry, entire year. If the service level agreement is for 1 year and you're going to pay for 1 year, whether you use it or not, they don't care. The TCS will never care whether you are using this database or not. But when you go for the public cloud, if I don't use this service, I don't need to pay. I have a database, but I'm not using it. The price is very, very, very minimal. You cannot even identify there is a charge. And ADF also. If I use for 1 minute, you are going to pay for 1 minute. The same way, if you have a service here, of course, you are not going to have a ADF here. You're going to have a something else. Like I'm just taking an example. Informatica. So if I have an Informatica here, then I need to pay for license for the software. At the same time, we required infrastructure to install, to set up, to run all these things. For that also we need to pay. So the price is very much more. Whether you use it or not, you are going to pay. So instead of having your own infrastructure, what you are doing is you are utilizing the infrastructure from someone else and you are trying to reduce the cost when you compare with your own premises. This is also on-prem only. Basically, I'm just calling this private cloud. Okay, this is also cloud is because I'm saying they're going to give the services to the specific person. And whatever the software you wanted to install in your systems, the same softwares they're going to install and give it to you. So I wanted to have a Java. You can have a Java also. You can have it. The same thing also you can take it from the Microsoft Azure. But you're not interested to go with them. I wanted to I wanted to stay with someone else. Then this is one of the approach. This kind of approach projects is very, very less. Market is not there like this. Before public cloud, there were many projects in the same way. There's ways to get the services. So most of you, if you are already having some experience, ways to access the services with virtual machines. So it was a before public cloud. Now very, very less. And I have a one more customer. I have a one more customer. This customer is not interested to go with the completely private cloud, and he is not interested to go with completely private cloud and public cloud. I'm just taking an example here. So depends on the budget. The solution architects are going to give a solution to them. So organizations only. All these are the organizations. Depends on their budget. Depends on their interest. Service providers has to provide the solution to them. Okay, so if the customers are taking some services from the public cloud and some services from the private cloud, that kind of services we can call them as hybrid clouds. You're taking the services from both of the places. So hybrid cloud physically is not existed, but we are calling them if the organization is using few services from the cloud, I mean private cloud, and few services from the public cloud, that kind of services we can call it as a hybrid cloud. If the business user is taking the services from both public and private, then we can call them as hybrid cloud. So who is going to take care about all these things? Who is going to decide is solution architects. The solution architects, which is related to infrastructure. Whatever I'm just talking about it, that is completely related to infrastructure related stuff. So infrastructure solution architects will be there. So those people are going to take care about it. Just give me a minute.
Good.
Okay. Any question as of now? The cloud deployment models. We are going to be part of 100% as public cloud. Okay. The next important thing is that we need to understand when you're working as a data engineer, from where we need to take the services. Let's say, of course, we are going to work with the Microsoft Azure, but still, this cloud providers categorize the services. They have many services in their container. In order to identify the service which is required to this person or that person, they categorize the services. So that means the types of the services that we need to understand, types of cloud services. One is software as a service. And second is platform as a services. And third is infrastructure as a service. So infrastructure as a service, platform as a services, and software as a services. So where we are going to fall, we'll see that. Now, if you see this one, we have three varieties of the services as a written, right? Software as a services. We are not going to be part of it. So when you go for software as a services, when we go for software as a services, everything will be taken care by cloud vendors only. We are not going to take care anything. Example for this is Gmail or Web Outlook or SharePoint or Dynamics CRM, something like that, and Microsoft Power BI. All those things are the software as a services. We don't need to install. We don't need to create. If you have an account, you can just go and use it. If you have a Gmail account, you can send a mail, you can receive a mails, you can do whatever it is specific to that particular software. The same way, if you have a SharePoint, you can access your storage as per the options that provided by the SharePoint. And if you take a Microsoft Power BI service, you can access the reports, you can refresh the reports, you can save the reports. All the stuff is going to be taken care. So that means right from the beginning till everything will be taken care by a vendor only. That means if you're taking the service from the Microsoft, Azure will take care. If you're taking from the AWS, AWS will take care. If you're taking the services from the GCP, the GCP will take care. We don't need to worry about it. And as a data engineer, we never come to this area. Of course, we are going to use the web outlook as like everyone, and SharePoint as like everyone. So you don't feel that is difficult to use it. And this software as a service is specific to the users, not for us, not for the developers. Okay, so that is a software as a service. We are not going to be part of it. And the second is we are going to have a platform as a services. When you go for platform as a services, the cloud vendors are going to provide a platform to you. They will give a platform. They don't give a solution to you. They will give a platform. Use the platform and provide the solution for your problem. So for that, we are going to use platform as a services, or all Azure data engineering services are coming from the PaaS, platform as a service. Platform as a service, we are going to take it. Your data factory is a platform as a service. Your Azure Databricks is a platform as a service. ADLS is a platform as a service. Everything is a platform as a service. So we are going to be part of this. And these services is not only for data engineers, these services for everyone in the market. We are one of the consumers for the platform as a services. But most of the services from this particular area is more for data engineering. We have a good services from the Microsoft for data engineering services. So I wanted to give little more details about it to understand. Let me say, what is a SaaS? PaaS, and this is the IaaS. So three varieties of the services that we are going to take from the cloud vendors. Even from the Microsoft Azure also, we are going to have the services like this. How exactly, as I said, we are going to concentrate, or we are going to work with the platform as a services, or whatever the service that we noted in the up here. The ADLS is a platform as a service. Your database is going to be platform as a service. Your ADF is a platform as a service. And ADB also is a platform as a service. So if I have a problem, something like this, let me take some examples and how we can provide the solution with the PaaS that I'm going to give, so that you'll get better clarity why we need to go for PaaS, or why we need to go for cloud, specific to the data engineers I'm talking. Let's say, for example, I have a SSIS project. I have a SSIS project. Even if you're not aware of SSIS, no worries. This was a traditional ETL tool in the market from the Microsoft. And most of the Microsoft projects are trying to come out of SSIS. They're encouraging, Microsoft encouraging to come out of SSIS and travel towards to the Microsoft Azure. So let's say, as I'm having a project in SSIS, SSIS means it is 100% is on-prem. It's a on-prem premises, or it is a private cloud only. Just imagine I'm taking all the services are there in my premises, so I'm just calling this as a on-prem project, Informatica project, data stage project, something like that. I'm having it. If the business user wants to redesign this entire process, if the business user wants to resign this entire process, then what we are going to do is, I'm going to have a cloud. ADF I'm going to use. and I wanted to use ADB, something like that. So some services I'm going to use to provide the solution for my existed project. So this was existed project only. I'm just trying to redesign this entire project with the new approach, with the new design. How we are going to do is with the help of PaaS services. With the help of PaaS services, we are going to do it. So the process of redesigning, I'm just going to redesign to ADF project. The entire thing I'm just going to redesign. If I wanted to redesign, then what services we required is PaaS services are required. By using the PaaS services, I wanted to migrate my SSIS project into cloud project or ADF project. People used to call ADF project or data engineering project, whatever the naming it is. I already told you in the demo, the traditional ETL developers were calling as now as data engineers. So if you're using Microsoft Azure services, then we were calling as Azure data engineers. So I wanted to redesign this entire process. The customer is interested to completely to redesign. So in that case, we are going to use only PaaS services. Only these services only we are going to use it. And this is one type of situation we are going to have it in the market. There are many projects from the Microsoft itself. I mean, when Microsoft encouraging to come out of this on-prem because they wanted to market the cloud, definitely they're going to give many benefits to the existing customers. So they're trying to come, they're bringing out of the traditional approach. And there is a one more kind of requirements also in the market. Like I have a project. Why Azure Data Engineering having more calls is because of all these things. Now I'm taking a project in Informatica. I have a project in Informatica. So even many Informatica projects or many data stage projects also moving towards to the Azure Data Factory and Azure Databricks. I mean to the ADF project. In this kind of situation also we required PaaS services only. If they wanted to move their traditional ETL processing or traditional ETL projects, these are all existed projects. Before public cloud, before Hadoop, all these projects were there. Slowly people are moving towards to different flavors. So in this case also, if the user wants to redesign the entire process, we can redesign with the help of these services. So those services, we can call them as again PaaS services only. So when it is related to data, when we are going to process the data, then 100% it is a PaaS services from the Microsoft Azure. And not only this, not only Informatica or data stage projects, I wanted to take one more example. Most of you are also aware of it. Hadoop. I have a Hadoop project. Hadoop also is on-prem. And they wanted to migrate from the Hadoop to cloud technologies, specific to the Microsoft Azure. In that case also, we can use the PaaS services to provide the solution. This is an existed project only. We are going to redesign this. There are many projects with the Hadoop. It's completely coding. We can have a more and more performance when you compare with Hadoop in the cloud technologies. Why people are moving towards this? Run and maintenance we can reduce, and we can process the data within the less period of time. When the data is processed in less time, then definitely people moves towards to the public cloud. This kind of projects also is there in the market. And I wanted to go for, I'm not interested to go with the PaaS platform. Let's say I have a same Hadoop project, or let me take a different so that you can compare easily. I required a database. I required a database. The database, I mean, in my existing environment, I have a database, and I wanted to, I mean, let me take some softwares, then you can understand. So I have some services, something like this. Let me say this is Oracle. So this is also is a on-prem environment. So I wanted to migrate these services. This is also on-prem only. But the problem is this customer is not interested to redesign. He's not interested for redesigning the process. He wanted to come out of the on-prem, but he's not interested to redesign. So if that is the case, then how you're going to provide the solution for that kind of persons is he wants to move the cloud, no doubt at all. But only the problem is he wants to use the existed services. He wants to use the existed services. So if they wanted to use the existed services means he wants to lift and shift their services. Lift and shift. So when you go for lift and shift the services, what kind of services we are going to use is we are going to use IR services. So that means infrastructure. This customer is not expecting the solution. He's not expecting like this. He wants to have their own solutions as it is without having any changes in the cloud. So to provide the solution for them like that, then definitely we required infrastructure as a services. Infrastructure as a services, we are going to take it. Microsoft Azure. And this is also Microsoft Azure only. As I'm talking about Microsoft Azure, I'm just taking that alone. So they can lift and shift their services as it is directly in the Microsoft infrastructure. So when we see this infrastructure as a service, you can see here, they're going to provide the infrastructure to you. The storage will be provided, servers will be provided, operating system, you can decide yourself. Whatever the operating system you require, that you can keep it. But here we don't have any control on operating system. No control on OS. No control on installations. If I need a Oracle, I cannot install it here. If I need a SAP, I cannot install here. But here it is possible because you're asking them, Bus, I need only infrastructure. Rest of them, we will take care about it. So Microsoft is ready to sell the services. So that kind of services, we can call it as a IaaS services, infrastructure as a services. So for that example is something like this. If they wanted to lift and shift their services as it is without doing any changes, that we can call it as a IaaS services. Any question as of now? So we understand here there are many SSIS projects were existed in the market. When they're trying to migrate their project towards to the cloud, then definitely they're going with the Microsoft Azure only, as they're customers of Microsoft already. And if you have a other than Microsoft products, which are related to ETL, there are many people are much more interested towards to the Azure Data Factory because it is completely code-free ETL tool or code-free ELT tool. There are many Hadoop projects also are there. The run and maintenance is very difficult. If you need any change request in the existed, you have to go through the code and you have to do the changes. That's very difficult. So later Hadoop, the Spark came into the picture. Later Spark, the Databricks came into the picture. So Databricks is the very, very, very important service. If you are having good experience with the Databricks, then you can survive like anything. You can demand your CTC like anything. So whatever you say, they will listen. But you need to be strong in the Databricks. And if they have this kind of situations, mostly we are not going to be part of this. The traditional developers. So later some point of time, definitely they will come out of it. Okay, so this kind of projects were not going to work. We're going to work other than that. Now, what is the cloud computing? Cloud computing. The process of taking services. No one will ask you guys what is cloud computing. It's a very, very, very basic. Just for you understanding, I'm just taking you through that. The process of taking services from the cloud vendors by using internet browser is known as cloud computing. It's a generic terminology. You're not installing anything. In order to take the data factory, we don't need to install anything. In order to have a data factory, we don't need to install. And we are just going to take the services from there. The process of taking the services, let's say I wanted to take ADF. We can take the ADF. Or I wanted to take ADB. We can take the ADB. Or I wanted to take ADLS. We can take ADLS. And just noting all data engineering services. I wanted to take the database. So this database is SQL Server. SQL DB. SQL Server database. So when you're taking the services from the any cloud vendor with browser, if I wanted to take the service, I don't need to install anything. As a user, I can take the services from here. So the process of taking the services from this Microsoft Azure, that kind of approach we can call it as a cloud computing. We can call this as a cloud computing. So in order to take the services from the Microsoft Azure specific to, what you required is you're going to be tenant, or since it is Azure Data Engineer, I'm just going to say the developers. So all developers or users are going to, users means it's not like a direct business users. There may be many people. So I'm just giving terminology users. So you need to be tenant. In order to use that, you need to be tenant of Microsoft Azure. So in order to have a tenant, you need to have an account in the Microsoft Azure. If you have an account in the Microsoft Azure, then you can take the services from here. You can take the services from there. So let me show you, for example, how exactly it is going to be there. Then we'll wind up the session. In order to access the services from this particular place, they have given a portal for us. The portal is www.portal.azure.com. www.portal.azure.com. So by using this portal, you can take the service, you can take any service from the Microsoft Azure. If you want to increase the compute, you can increase the compute. If you want to decrease the compute, you can decrease the compute. If it is related to infrastructure, even if it is related to PaaS also. For PaaS also, we are going to have a configuration control. But we don't have a installation approach. We don't have a updates. We don't have a operating system control. So all those differences are required for administrators. So as we are going to work as a Azure data engineers, we don't need to know about all those things. So if you have some generic approach, that is more enough. So we need to have an account in order to access the services from here. And I'm just showing here. Let me hit on portal.azure.com. So since it was already logged in my account, so it is going to take the services. You can see here, Data Factory and ADLS Gen 2, subscription, Azure Databricks. I told you, ADB. It's very, very important. So to provide the solution for your big data, Azure Databricks is very, very important. It is very, very faster because it is a in-memory computing framework. Okay, so Hadoop is not like in-memory. It is going to be hard disk, disk-based processing. So it degrades the performance. So when you go with the in-memory processing, it is going to be 100 times or 100 times faster than your Hadoop. So that much faster we are going to have in the Databricks. Okay, so those things we'll see. And I just wanted to say here, if you wanted to access the service, you need to have an account. And we are going to see how we can create an account, that I'm going to take you through in the next session. So I'm stopping here. If you have any question, you can ask me.
Thanks, Bhaskar. So far, no questions from my side. This is Venu.
Yeah,
Want to know that are you going to share these documents?
yes,
Not
yes,
only recording.
yes.
Okay.
Even that I mentioned here also, this like whatever here, everything will be provided.
Okay.
So PDF materials will be there, sample data. So weekly we are going to have a six sessions, and lab practice sessions per week. We are planning for 3 days, 3 sessions, and The real-time project is going to be, I'm going to take 20 hours out of this regular content. And interview questions and answers will be provided. DP203 dumps will be provided if you are interested to go and write a certification. And doubts clearing sessions if you're required. And markup interviews, resume preparation, recording sessions. All these things we are going to provide.
How this training is going to benefit for freshers?
Definitely, because if you know, even in the academics also, they started giving the data processing, data science. So they're going to be very much helpful. There are many companies are there to take the freshers also.
Even we can get that opportunities, even
Yes,
freshers, once
yes,
we are familiar with these concepts.
exactly. Because they are the part of academics.
Mhm. So are you going to cover this PySQL, PySpark, JSON and all?
Not a JSON. We are going to cover PySpark with the Databricks. And to understand this PySpark with Databricks, we required Python basics. The Python basics also I'm going to take care about it. So it's completely like master data engineering. If you're going to work with Azure data engineers, whatever is required for them, that I'm going to take you through the particular sessions.
I missed the last session, so that I asked.
Yeah,
So
no problem, no problem.
thank you.
Because Python is very important. Otherwise, you cannot understand the Databricks.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. So I'm also going to review your practices, how exactly you're doing the practice, you're reaching me or not. So I'm also going to talk one to one also. If the if the if the person is interested to talk with me to clear their doubts, I'm here to talk. Okay. Okay, then I'm stopping here. And tomorrow we are going to jump into directly into Microsoft Azure. So till now we just talked about generic approaches. The cloud computing deployment models is common for everywhere. The types of the services are more or less same. And specific to Azure, how exactly we are going to work as a data engineer, how we can set up the environment, what are the prerequisites to start doing the practice, that we are going to see on tomorrow. So prerequisites means not related to technology, environment. So we need to set up the environment also for doing the practices all. So those things we are going to see. Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining.